We're live. It's amazing how this keeps happening.
Yay!
We just keep becoming live.
I know.
This button. How is everybody doing tonight?
All right.
I don't know if there's anybody in here or not. We have 4 people watching, apparently. We're live. Say hello if you're live.
And
Say hello
mute
if you
that
can
one.
see us, I should say.
Okay. Let me get back to over here. There we go.
What's up, Jim? How you doing tonight? The
Let's
Thursday
see.
/ Friday edition, because it is Friday. I don't have to work tomorrow, so
Neither do I. Let's
I'm
go.
excited about.
No, I am too. So let's hopefully this works the way I'm hoping. We're gonna let everybody build in here for just a second, and hopefully it all works the way we want it to work. If not, we'll just stick with the YouTube and call it good.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. We're
If anything,
live
you're
there.
definitely nothing but live. So, yeah, it's live. It's on there.
Sweet. Let's see if we're live over on Hot Wheels TV. If not, we'll just play it by ear.
I say we just roll with it.
Let's just roll with it.
Very nice, Jim. I would love to work 4 days a week. I'd personally, I'd love to not work at all, but I'm getting a little overzealous on that one, not working at all. So.
Okay. Well, all right, everybody. We got a great show for you tonight. We've got Mr. Carl Pomponio from out on the East Coast, who is a part of the Hot Wheels newsletter chapter coordinator. That's his official title. He also works with Collectors Events Unlimited and is part of one of the New Jersey chapters as well. So we'll give him a big shout out and have him on here in a couple of minutes. We've had a pretty busy week, haven't we? We've been pretty busy getting things together.
Short week, still long days. So
yeah. So what's going on with us here in the next couple of weeks? What's going on in the area?
Well, let's see. We've got this. We're going down to Gardner, Kansas, to go down to the Hot Wheels. Wow, my brain has just quit working.
Legends Tour thing
down there in Gardner, Kansas, and then on the 20th we have our show there at the Firefighters Hall. I'm super excited about that one. Can't wait.
Yeah. If you want to get a table, there's still time for that.
Mm-hmm. Still got a few
I
left.
think this week we may open things up. We got to talk about it, make sure everybody's on board with it. But, there could be a possibility of some table limits being lifted. We do have some giveaways to give out also.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff, too.
Yeah. I mean,
the only one that's got banker's hours is that guy.
Me.
Well, in this case, it'd be him. But
yeah, me.
Not me.
So we got our table is supposed to be 65 tables is our limit. We're getting there, and we would love to see everybody come from different places, man, because you never know what you're going to see.
Yeah. Mitcher, we are doing good tonight. How are you doing, sir?
Do we want to show what we're giving away, or do we want to wait?
Let's wait.
Okay, we'll wait.
Let's make sure we're good before we do anything crazy. So.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. All right, let's cut to the chase. I mean, that's all that's going on in the next couple of days. let's get Carl on here so that way
Heck
we
yeah.
can get this party started.
Hang out with
All
the
right,
boys.
without further delay, Mr. Carl Pomponio. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hey guys, thanks for
What's
having
going
me.
on,
Good
Carl?
good evening. How you doing?
Doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Happy Independence Day Eve to you.
Yes. Yes.
So, bring in the man. All right, here we go. The peanut gallery has already started. Hey, Kim, how are you? All right. Why don't you give us a who, what, when, where, why about yourself real quick before we get into the questions?
Oh my goodness. Hey, so quick one. I've been a Hot Wheel collector since I'm a little kid. Uh, Never really outgrew it. When I discovered girls and cars and booze, I still kept buying Hot Wheel cars, not to the same degree, but I still, found time to go hunt for some stuff. And once life kind of got on track, my first job out of college, I actually worked at Toys R Us, and that was the
Nice.
beginning of
Inside
the.
track. Little
That
inside
was
track.
the nail in the coffin that sent me down the wrong path of one of everything collecting Hot Wheels. So I've been at this for probably close to 40 years. Um, I collect a little bit of everything from red lines straight through to current. I'm a huge variation lunatic. Um, Love it to death. And somewhere along the line, by going to the conventions and stuff, I kind of took on some roles to help with the community. Being able to be the MC, being able to be the chapter coordinator. Uh, Definitely have a passion for collecting, and there's nothing better than passing it forward to the next group of collectors and sharing some of the things that worked and some of the things that didn't work. Um, these cars are going to be around long after we're gone. So, who's the next caretaker for it, and how do we keep the ball rolling? So it's a ton of fun. Been doing that a long time. Um, I'm also married, 3 kids. Uh, I still work, only 4 days this week, so that's not so bad. Only
Same.
4 days this week. Um, and again, just living in New Jersey, originally from New York, and just have a boatload of fun with my accent that I really don't know about, but everybody else says I have.
Yeah, I've heard stories that you supposedly have one.
Yeah, I don't know what anyone's talking about. I think it's
Yeah,
every.
I don't know
Yeah.
either.
No, not at all. Not one little bit. So, again, we will be taking questions with Carl tonight. We would really appreciate it if you guys hop in there and get something for him, make him say certain words, because we've heard that, like I said, he's supposedly got an accent. So, also, if you wouldn't mind, go follow us on YouTube, give us a like, a subscribe, and a follow. We would appreciate it very much.
Always.
Again, there's the page to go to. All right, first question of the night. Where did you get your start at? You said you did it since you were a kid, but.
All right, so I'll peel back a little bit of the curtain. Um, as a kid growing up in Brooklyn, um, everybody played stickball, or we rode our bikes in the street, or big wheels, or whatever it was. And as a kid growing up, I had childhood asthma, and at the time, there was really no cure. You basically went to the hospital if you couldn't breathe, and they gave you some pills and called it a day. So, needless to say, I was far from an athletic person because I couldn't breathe if I tried anything. I loved baseball, I loved all that other stuff, but I just couldn't do it. And there was nothing cooler than seeing cars go down the block in the 60s and the 70s, because that's what I did when I hung out outside and saw all kinds of crazy stuff. And I loved it.
Nice.
I absolutely loved it. My parents owned a small home with a rental underneath us, and our tenants at the time were hot rodders.
Nice.
Nobody in my family cared about cars except me. And the real deal was when The gentleman, his name was Wally. When he came home, he ran. He had two cars when he lived there. He had a '64 Impala SS that was triple black with a 409.
Ooh.
That car got stolen.
Oh.
Welcome to New York.
Yeah.
And he
For shame.
Yeah, go figure. Never got it back, but he replaced it with a '70 Cuda, big block,
Ooh.
and that car rumbled. And for those of you that are old like me, he ran solid core wires, and when he would pull up in front of the house, the TV would go crazy because it interrupted the signal. Because again, we had 13 channels with rabbit ears, and there were no condensers, there was no nothing. So when he would pull up, first you would hear him, and then you realize Sesame Street would go upside down, and it was unbelievable. And it infected me. I'm telling you that it was just right then and there. People that we rented a house to, and just seeing cars on the street, and me not being able to play sports. I spent a lot of time playing with cars, Hot Wheels, Matchbox, whatnot, and that's kind of how I got into the cars, and it never went away. It never went away.
Nice. All right, first words of the night. Brian Nitcher says, car keys.
Car keys.
There we go.
That ain't right.
Oh, it gets better. Jim Whitver wants to know, do you have a casting that you like overall? And if there's any you'd like to see come back that have been retired?
Yeah, this I can't pick one. I got to go with two that I'm fond of, and it's because I own them. One is the old 442, because they were my first cars. So I had 68 and 69 442s, and I used to street race them in the city, and that was my deal. And one of my current cars is first generation in NA Mazda Miata, and I am tickled as an original owner, 35-year-old car that I still drive like it's a roller skate. So it's a blast. I have other cars, but those are the two cars from a Hot Wheel point of view from a casting that I get all excited about.
All right, and a Miata.
Nice. That's a good combination.
I've been chasing down Miatas for years. There's still a few I'm missing.
I'm missing two. So.
Well, I know I'm missing at least two.
All right, so the next words are
Bob,
from
that's
Bob.
not right, Bob. That's just not right, Bob. You want me to say Orange Cougar?
Yeah, we want to hear it.
Orange Cougar.
Orange Cougar.
Believe it or not, I actually have a red line Orange Cougar with a painted tooth that I'm looking to upgrade. Right, so that was one of my first red lines that I still have. So I like Orange Cougars.
Nice. Very nice.
I have a Cougar, let alone a particular color.
I
am definitely behind on my red lines.
Oh yeah, red lines. Yeah, I've got like 20 something, and I fail miserably in the red line department.
I might have 25. Maybe.
Do you belong to a club in your area, and if so, what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, we have the New Jersey Diecast Club in New Jersey, obviously. We actually pull members from as far south as Philly, PA, New York. People come in from the Bronx and Staten Island. And then obviously people from New Jersey all over the state. Club's been in existence 27 years. I'm actually the president of the club at the moment. I've been the president for a while. I was the assistant for the vice president for a while. We have a ton of fun. We keep it really low key. And one of the things that we do at our club, and it's a little different, we don't run toy shows. It's really a meet and greet, get together for a couple hours during the week. We actually have some bylaws and some controls in place so that it doesn't turn into a show or a scalper fest where people are trying to make all kinds of crazy money, and it's designed to just truly help each other. Can you make a few bucks? Sure, but the goal is connect with some folks. Hey, I got this, I got two of that, three of that, and we do other stuff. We'll do raffles and we'll do auctions, and we'll raise some funds to pay the rent, and do some of the things so we can have a Christmas party. We do a club car. Actually, Chris Stangler does our club car. We buy it through him, so it's a boatload of fun, and it's a bunch of solid cats that we get together the second Wednesday of every month. So we have a blast.
Wednesday.
Yeah, second Wednesday of the month, middle of the week.
Very nice.
How does that does that present a challenge meeting in the middle of the week, or you find it's actually easier?
So being in the Northeast, and everything is a cost, and that's part of the reason we don't do toy shows, because of the cost of insurance and security that's mandated. Meeting during the week in a VFW hall, we get it for next to nothing. And unfortunately, we don't pull a lot of kids in, even though we start at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. But we get adults that come in. They're on their way home from work. There's a bunch of restaurants around, so a lot of people come from work, grab something to eat, grab a box or two of stuff. They'll buy, sell, trade, and by 10 o'clock or so, it's pretty much wrapped up. We have about 50 members, maybe 52, if I remember correctly. And again, there's a core group, probably 35 or so returning members every single year, and then there's like maybe 10 to 15 that rotate through. We have picked up a ton of members. The past year and a half, we've seen a growth of membership by really doing nothing. It's just, I think, the popularity of the hobby and people seeking others to help build a collection.
Gotcha. I think that's something that's been across the board overall. So I can see that. Okay, Brian has a question for you. He wants to know, can you join your club if you can't make the meetings?
Sure. The only thing, and we have a Facebook page, so you can log in to NJDCC and see what's going on. It doesn't cost anything. We don't charge anybody anything for the online piece. If you want to participate, or if there's something that you want, or whatever, just reach out to me and I can try to help you with what you need. That's easy enough to do. We keep our meetings, I want to say closed door, like you have to be a member to come. However, our meetings are open door, because the first meeting that someone shows up at, we don't collect anything. It's, hey, come try us out for a meeting. If you like us, pay us next time and join us. We charge $27 a year for dues. So it's like $2.25 a month. And it's pretty.
That's awesome. Now, do you guys do like a club swap? I know during the chapter meeting, we did the club car exchange.
Yep.
But I know I've swapped club shirts with other clubs and things like that, just for kind of like like the soccer players do. They exchange jerseys and stuff. So I wonder if that was something else that you've ever done or seen.
We haven't done it, but we do T-shirts too. So that's not a bad idea. I think I got a couple extra ones.
That seems to be something across the board with a lot of folks. I know we've got some extras too. Let's see. Moving on up to the side. Oh, wrong show. All right.
He does this all the time. We just go with it.
It's okay.
What challenges do you see with putting a show together? I know you mentioned the insurance part of it and the cost. Is it a lack of venues, or is it just the overall cost to find a location, or is it a theft thing?
Yeah, it's
all of the above.
It's a little bit of all of that, Kent. the one prohibiting factor up here is cost. The mandate with insurance and the cost of insurance. The insurance companies want certain riders put with it, even if buildings are certified. They want fire safety included. Again, the biggest cities and stuff where it's really heavily populated, they really kind of put you through the ringer, unfortunately. And then the smaller venues where maybe you can squeeze a show in there without all of that stuff usually doesn't have enough parking because space is always a premium in congested cities. So, we wind up with some of those challenges. Now, there are shows that get put on. One of our club members actually does a show like in a firehouse. And 25 tables, he works it all out, and he was able to, because it's in a firehouse and it's, he's part of the membership, part of the township. He doesn't get charged an arm and a leg, and he's able to, get away with some minimum stuff. But you just never know, and that's where it comes down to a challenge. There's toy shows, general toy shows that happen here, but at times they charge $200 a table.
Wow!
Right, so it's an 8-foot table. It's 2-day show, but it's $200 a table. And it's big. Might be 150 tables, but it and it's all toys. It's not just diecast, so it's kind of hit and miss when you go there, and whether you're shopping or you're selling. So it does challenge us sometimes when we're here up in the Northeast. And then there's always so much going on. It's difficult to get people together. There's a lot of overlap. Even though there's a ton of people, there's just a lot of overlap. And it becomes a challenge.
It's kind of funny that some of the things that you're mentioning are kind of the same out here, but maybe not to the same degree. You were mentioning about the fact that there's a lot of overlap. It's like, if you can't find a show to go to out here, you are not doing something right. I mean, I can honestly say we had one weekend, right, Brent, where there was like 3 shows all the same weekend.
Yeah. It just depends on which way you want to drive.
Right.
And I think we hit 2 of them that weekend. So.
Wow.
Yeah. You can hit toy shows in multiple states in the same weekend easily.
Wow.
We've got the Northland guys up in New Prague, Minnesota that we run up to. We've got Mason City, Iowa, which is Barb rolls up there at the top of Iowa. Then we've got Des Moines down in Des Moines. Then we've got ours. Then we've got Lincoln. Then we've got down to Kansas. So yeah, we're in this perfect little area right here. This perfect cross of just everything right around us. So.
And if we really want to go on a road trip, we'll head south and see the T-Town guys too. So
yeah, nice. We'll go all the way down to Tulsa. So yeah,
our circle usually is New Jersey, maybe down into Maryland, and then into Pennsylvania.
I don't know about those Maryland guys.
Yeah, exactly. New York is almost a no-go. Like you can't touch a place in New York. It's super expensive, even just to get a haul. Wow. A couple $1,000. It's ridiculous.
Is the insurance requirements part of the reason why it's so expensive? When I say that, I mean you kind of mentioned like there's some fire safety that it's not like a general blanket policy,
right?
Because
they actually ask us, like some of the insurance companies we talk to, they won't insure us unless we have a fire rated building, and there had to be proof, and then the hall doesn't want to provide the proof, so it becomes now he's kind of stuck in the middle. They mandate that there's some type of security, and then they want to count heads. If there's X amount of people coming through the door, it depends upon how much security you need. So it becomes a little bit more of a guessing game. And I hate saying this, unfortunately, in the litigious society that we're in, I don't know if a lot of us even want to put our name to that, right? That becomes the challenge too, because at the end of the day, now what happens? We're a nonprofit organization, the New Jersey Diecast Club. Even if I did it myself, I don't want someone falling and getting hurt, or
Mm.
unfortunately, if something was to happen, now they come and look at me, or try to do something to the club. So that's the risk that you take. It's not as closed a community as you would like sometimes.
It's that's crazy when I think about that, because insurance out here is incredibly inexpensive, and it doesn't have all the same requirements. Maybe there might be a little bit different, such as rain, wind, and hail insurance, those type of things. And
Right.
you talk about property loss in terms of damage from a tornado or a flood. But then again, if we're getting to that point, we better not be doing a show.
Right. Exactly.
At least you shouldn't.
Exactly.
You shouldn't.
Well, yeah, we do a lot of there's a lot of auto swap meets out here too. Like, we're a couple hours away from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and they have a lot of car shows and swap meets where you could go and do your thing. Englishtown Raceway Park, it's still there. It's just not there for drag race, and they do something twice a year. So there are other venues, but again, they're outdoors. And unfortunately, yeah, you know what? There's plenty of times I was down there selling, and the storms came, and you held on to the tent for dear life because you thought it was going to take off, right? So
yeah, that's good. I
fun
can see. I just like doing comparisons of, what you guys have to go through out here to compare to what here, and it's like, I heard about a tractor show up at Dyersville, Iowa, which is where the Ertl headquarters used to be, and they were wanting something like $200+ for a table too for a 2-day show, and I'm just like, oh wow, $30 for our show in Omaha doesn't seem so bad anymore. But I understand that you can only pay what you can pay. But
right.
I digress.
The cost of living always changes things.
Yeah, I hate that part. What do you do at Convention for Collectors Events Unlimited?
A little bit of everything, I think. Most of us do a little bit of everything. So I guess I wear two hats. So the one hat that I wear is running the chapter meeting that's on Friday morning, as the chapter coordinator for the Hot Wheel newsletter. That was actually my first job with the convention group. And it was funny. I had to interview. I will tell you what I did with that. I actually had to interview with Mike Strauss for that position. And I don't know. I think it was a 2-hour conversation over the phone. And I made it really, really clear to Mike to say, I don't want to be on the staff. All I wanted to do was just that meeting because I still wanted to go and drink beer and get silly. Well, that didn't work out so well. Because after the second one, I was handed a staff shirt and I got drafted, right? However, it was certainly one of the best things that I could have possibly done. So, that's my main title. I do a lot with the vending machine when I'm not double booked. I do some of the collecting seminars, usually 1 or 2 of the collecting seminars. We try to change them up every couple of years with different stuff that goes on. And then I'm the MC. So I do the Wednesday night opening. I do the dinner on Thursday night. I do the auction on Friday night. And I do the finale on Saturday night. So
nice.
I'm the guy with the big mouth. I actually replaced Rick Tippy when he said that he wasn't going to be able to come back. And they asked me to do it. And Rick was really, really instrumental in helping me, build a review and a pattern, what to follow, and a script, if you will, with some checklists. Obviously it's evolved and it changes and it updates, but he was really, really instrumental in helping me kind of get going. And, once you do it a couple times, you get going. It's not that big a deal.
It's kind of like this. After
Yeah.
after the 100 and something one, you're just like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah, not that big a deal, right?
No.
But it's good, and then obviously, you listen, you jump in and help wherever, whether it's helping with a line or someone's out with bingo, or because again, sometimes some of our volunteers can't make it because they've got something going on at home, or they couldn't get the time off from work or whatever it is. Again, we're all volunteers, so it's not a job. We try, but it's not always a slam dunk that we can get in. So we all try to help together and pull together like a family, and it's really, really a great group of people. It's stuff that you can trust everybody, which is really, really key.
All right, so the next word is up on the board for you.
I see that. So if people want to hear me say winner, there you go. Absolutely.
I have yet to hear that called in my name. So
I got to hear it this time.
Yeah.
I've been told, how do you scream like that and then get on stage and still have a voice to talk? I don't know. Just kind of works. Muscle through it.
Don't ask questions. Just go.
Just do it.
Yep. Why is the chapter meeting so important for you?
I remember when I had first joined the New Jersey Diecast Club, and I wasn't a founder of the club. I went to the first meeting. I was just another guy sitting there at the, in the venue, and I had a really, really good time. But I certainly saw some opportunity to run it a different way, just based on my background. And once the club was there, I asked the president at the time, I was like, hey, do you mind if I represent the club at, the convention? He goes, yeah, sure, no problem. So I went to my first chapter newsletter meeting, and I sat there, and Steve Charter was the person that was doing it. And I learned so much from some of the other chapters and some of the other leaders and the other clubs that were around for a really, really long time, that I used to leave there loaded with ideas and just say, wow, we can do this. And we had a change of leadership at New Jersey Diecast, and they perked up when I told them some of the ideas that I heard, and we got a chance to implement it, and it really took our club to the next level. And it wasn't really original ideas; it was stuff, hearing it from others that tried it and were tried and true, and they worked. So I know how much it meant to me and how much I learned, and frankly, how it helped my chapter survive. So when I got the opportunity, when Steve said he wasn't going to be able to do it anymore, and I did the interview with Mike, it was something that was near and dear to me, because even there with Steve was like, hey, all these great ideas, how do I just generate people to talk about what's working, or talk about what's not working, so that everybody can kind of problem solve and help each other. So that piece of coming together, of really trying to generate people that'll help each other, build relationships from chapter to chapter. It's not a perfect meeting, but it's definitely a venue that I look forward to, like seeing faces and being able to see how things work and things don't work. And it's always neat. I get phone calls, I get emails throughout the year, just, hey, I'm having this problem. How do you think you should handle it, right? It's like, I'm not the guru, but I've seen and heard a lot, so I put my 2 cents in and try to help people. Because the more chapters that succeed, the more true collectors that are out there. And when you have more collectors, I hate saying it, but you outweigh the ones that are trying to monetize the hobby, which makes it more difficult for those that actually like the hobby to find stuff. Mm-hmm. So the survival of chapters, where people can actually work together and chapters can work together with each other, will just sustain the collecting aspect instead of just the money grab that it is sometimes. So that's always been my DNA. It's like, how do you help the next guy, right? We all want that expensive car, and everybody wants a great deal. Let's call it as it is, right? Me too. But at the end of the day, hopefully you get something back for everything that you give. People start working together, and that's how you really build your collection, instead of tracking eBay or bribing the store workers or whatever it might be. So it's a different way to go with it. So
Okay, so we'll answer this question and then we'll go on to our next scheduled question.
So Paul, I collect one of everything in the Hot Wheels world, which is a huge problem. A huge. Yes, I have the cones. I do have the cones.
I have like 10 of these things. They're hilarious.
It's bad, and yes, NASCAR. Yeah, I'm
But the
bad.
reason these are fun
They
is,
stack.
well, not they. It's not that only that they stack. It's just if you take another card
Yes,
and they can be used
yes,
as, if I can pick it up here, as stands.
yes. Perfect.
So they're display stands. So it's kind
So
of
now
fun.
we can race blister pack cars.
Ooh. You know what? The cardboard collectors can now race.
See, exactly. My
Yeah,
cardboard went
that
down on the cone. That's it.
that's what they're doing. They're just trying to
Yeah,
get the cardboard collectors
I
in on the
think
racing.
that might be a new class.
There we go.
That's an idea.
The cone drag race cars. It'd
We
have to be a
hatched it
really
right
wide
here.
track.
We
It'd have to
hatched
be a
it right
very
here.
wide track. Yes, yes, we did.
That
So yeah, I do one of everything with Hot Wheels, and I do buy other diecast brands. I, it's what tickles my fancy. Listen, anything from 64 mini GTs, Matchbox, Johnny Lightning, Masto, just what kind of grabs me. But that's a
Hmm.
little bit more of a narrower scope. Hot Wheels, if it's got Hot Wheels on it, I'm trying to buy it.
Pretty much.
I got, yeah, it's something. I've even got Hot Wheel mouthwash,
I got
right?
some
now,
toothpaste.
I was gonna
So
say we'll put that with the Aquafresh toothpaste,
we
and we'll
have that.
Yeah, I
see
gotta
how
pick up some
that
of that.
goes.
It's a
Yes,
little creepy inside.
it's the oral care section of my display, right?
There you
So
go. All
so
right.
yes, anything that's Hot Wheels, we're down with it.
Nice.
Nice, nice.
All right. So, as the chapter coordinator, what piece of advice would you give to a new club?
So when new clubs start out, the hardest thing to do is find a meeting place, and usually the first recommendation is find a find a neutral ground, even if it's like a food court in a mall or someone's garage or something like that. But don't change it. Create some routine. At least 6 months, right? Get 6 or 7 meetings under your belt so everybody kind of knows where you are or what the timing is. Um, that's usually where I see most of the challenges. People find a place and then they move, and then they find a place and they move, and everybody kind of loses interest because they can't figure out where they are or they showed up at the wrong place. So, selecting a place right out of the gate, that's probably your most critical piece. And start slow. Keep it simple. Don't try to put a toy show on the first time. Just don't get together and just get to know people and trade, right? Get to, try that piece. Um, and you'll see people's interests. And if you've got a lot of folks that are gung ho to do a show, then you do a show. If you got people that are a little bit more laid back, then just do the trade and help them support each other. As it grows, find the right venue, and give people enough time. So that communication piece and the routine is usually what helps sustain a club.
All right. Very cool. I know that that's been one of our struggles in the early end days. Well, basically when the COVID took in, we got moved around and shuffled around quite a lot. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely understand the having a stable location. So,
yeah. Brent, COVID turned everybody upside down. I know at a point in time we were meeting in my backyard, on a different day because I don't have lights in my backyard. We usually meet at night during the week.
hmm.
We're not going to be out there in November with flashlights in the Northeast when it's 30 degrees. I mean, although we thought about it, we
Yeah,
did think about that. Um,
a little chilly.
it's like, hey, we'll do it on a Saturday, and it was good. It worked out. It was a way for us to get together. Wasn't perfect. It was, certainly abbreviated, but it was still nice seeing friendly faces during that COVID time, and in an area that was still somewhat safe. We're masked up in my yard, and
Yeah.
measuring out tables 6 feet apart. It was a joke, but
Yeah.
you know, if you wanted to be there, you were there, and we all had fun. And you know what? Nobody came down with COVID. Go figure.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, this is what saved us doing this on initially on Friday nights, and then it turned into Thursday nights because it just seemed to get more people. But you know, this is how we kept things going until things got lifted. But that seems so far ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
All right. So for those that don't know, Mr. Chris Parker, do you have a favorite story?
Oh boy, yeah. There's a lot of Chris Parker stories.
I know.
A lot of Chris Parker stories. How do I put this one? So there was we were gathered together at one of the conventions. I can't tell you which one because I don't remember it. And we were gathered in a circle, kind of hanging out and talking and yucking it up and saying some silly stuff. Of course, we were being silly at the time. If you could read between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
I got
And
an idea.
we made the statement of, you know, hey, I think we're gonna do an invisible car. And Chris had made that mention. And this was long before there was the Wonder Woman plane.
Yeah.
You all know the Wonder Woman plane.
Mm-hmm.
So we made mention, hey, we're gonna have an invisible car, and Chris goes, ooh, I dropped it. Who saw it? Right? And now all of us are on the floor looking for it. Okay. And then I made the mention to Chris. I was like, Chris, you know, it'd be great if you just made an empty blister pack and said that the car was in there. Call it the Invisicar. And of course we were being silly. We all laughed like it was the funniest thing on the planet, even though it wasn't, but it was. And then a year later, the Wonder Woman plane came out. And we saw, do you remember? He goes, yeah, I think I remember. And we laughed about it again. So that idea, while it didn't necessarily, can I say, come from us, we actually thought about it before it actually showed up. And sure enough, that's a really popular car, or empty blister pack, if you will. You can't even say it's a car or a plane or whatever's supposed to be in there. It's plastic, cardboard.
Yeah, I believe it was the Invisible Jet.
Yes.
And yes, like, because that was the thing, is they did it, technically they did it twice.
Yes, they did.
Because they did the original one for the San Diego Comic-Con, which is which is the hardest one to find.
Yep.
And then they redid it again, and I can't remember if that was a San Diego or if that was an RLC. I can't remember.
I think it was an RLC. The package was like a reddish brown or something like that.
Yeah,
The original package.
It had the old school logo on it.
Yeah, it was like it was a RLC related to a mail-in or something. I don't quite remember.
Yeah, but in 2010 is when the Jet came out for San Diego Comic Con, and just for those who are keeping track, one sold it sold in last month for $150 for a protector, a cardboard, and an empty bubble. So
that's awesome.
And the other one's only doing $20. So
I got them next to me. They're just 3 feet away from me.
I don't own either one of them. I'm a big fan of physical cars. So
I am too. I just didn't want to open those. Then I lose.
I mean, yeah, no, you don't, and you might set it down, and then you'll never find it again. So
Exactly.
I need bright colors because I get lost in my basement quite frequently.
So for those of you who don't know, can you tell us a little bit about who Chris was?
So Chris was one of the guys that, well, he worked for RLC and he was on the boards all the time. And he wasn't a designer or anything like that, but he was kind of the spokesperson for Hot Wheels at the time. And he was the loudest, craziest, party-filled, fun-filled guy ever. And if you look at any of the old convention footage, if you were in the vending machine room, you got hit with silly string, and that was Chris Parker. Um, there were plenty of times doing the vending machine with Chris Parker that I think I fell over because he made me laugh so much, right? When we would always come out with something stupid between the two of us and just being goofballs. And that was always the fun. Again, it's great when you have a representative that wants to just go over the top. He was never really inappropriate. He was never really, rude and crude. It was always all good fun and, I guess maybe a little physical comedy, if you will, at the same token. But it was always a fun time with him. And he still comes every once in a while on his own dime. He's no longer obviously with Mattel, but he still shows up every once in a while. I still keep in touch with him. What people don't know about Chris, he's a huge sports fan. A huge sports fan. And he is a huge Los Angeles Dodgers baseball fan. So when the Dodgers and the Mets were playing, we kind of were ribbing each other.
There you go.
He won last year. Let's see if I got him this year.
Yeah, there you go. So when you were working the conventions, how long is your typical day at, being on staff?
So the days are really long. Typically, I'm an early riser to start with, but typically I'm kind of down there around 8:30 or so, and I'll go down there and take a look at what's going on, who needs what. But my events usually start around 9 o'clock, and those events won't be consistent all day. I'll be on an hour, off an hour, on an hour, off an hour, on 2 hours, whatever it is. And then the evenings, usually it's more the block of time together. Like the dinner is 4 hours or 3 hours. The auction, we've tried shortening the auction down, so I think we've got the auction down to about 3 hours or so. But there's like an hour worth of prep beforehand. So the nights don't end until 9, 10 o'clock. So they're pretty full days. There are some breaks in between. There's definitely sometimes you get 2 or 3 hours in between, but it's not much more than that. Sunday is usually pretty easy. You go down, you help set up the room, and then you're pretty much done. Usually Sunday I'm flying back home, so
Nice.
sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not.
I hear you. All right. So, what car would you like to see become an actual convention car?
I'm gonna be selfish,
You
and
gotta be.
I want that '91 Miata that they did.
The original or the new one?
The new one.
All
Well,
right.
not the new one that won the car show. The one that they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
My real car looks just like that. It's
Okay.
got the same. It has the same body kit. It's got the same roll bar. It's got the same everything on it. I would love to see that car duplicated.
That would be cool.
With some real stuff like that.
Yeah, they do tributes every now and then. I can think of Mr. Weber's name's on the back of a pickup, and so is Mr. Dave Robles. His was on there as well. So I don't think it's out of the question.
Joe's name was on the panel.
Yep. Jimmy Gorbaczewski's was on the Willies.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we
yeah,
just need them to get a make a Miata. There we go.
They're out there.
Problem
So-
solved.
All right,
that's
the next
really
word.
good- that's a really good choice.
That is exactly how I said that. Huge. That's a little bit of Paris Hilton, right?
I just think
Right.
I just think it's funny
That's
that the guy
hot.
that lives in Kansas is talking so much smack. So
Well, it's that guy in Kansas. What do
I
you
know it is.
expect?
But now he's going to come after me, so it works out. All right. So, what is your favorite and why between the muscle cars, the European cars, or the Japanese cars?
See, that's a tough one. I'll work backwards. As much as I like the European cars, they're probably last because I can't afford them. So I know I'll never have a real one, right?
I agree.
So I own, like I said earlier, I own a 90 Mazda Miata, MX-5. So I have a real big love for JDM cars and all of the Japanese contingent. They're different. It's something that I love. I enjoy it. But I cut my teeth on muscle cars, and I also own a 2013 SS Camaro Hot Wheel Edition.
Oh,
So
that means you have the 2-pack that only came with the car.
it is, sorry, it is kind of fun taking off. Yeah, see, there you go, RX-7. That's smoking. I drove one of those R1s. They're scary. It's awesome. So again, I like the muscle cars, but you can't beat the Japanese, stuff. I just can't. It's just one of those things that you turn the key, they start, they go. It's not a problem. Modern technology seems to outweigh some of the old stuff, but I still like the smell of motor oil and gas leaking through the floorboards. There is something to love about that, not knowing if you're going to be able to stop is always a thrill.
Yeah, I can see how that would make to be a good time. That's one of the few of these that I.
Yes.
I like the old body style. I always have.
Yep.
There's quite a few of this variant I'm still hunting down. So, but I am working towards getting them all at some point. So.
There's 3 different orange ones. No, I'm sorry.
I seen there was 4, or is it 3? I can't remember now.
Actually, I shouldn't say that. The orange, I think there's 2. The green ones, I think there's 3.
3 or 4 on that one.
So, yeah, it's
so.
insane.
There's the new word for tonight.
A garage.
No, that doesn't count.
Garage. That's not hot.
All right. So moving along here, we got 4 more yet, and then we got of course, the critical one is at the end. If you could go to any show that you haven't been to, what show would that be?
I'd like to be able to get to one of Chris Stanger's shows. It's a show that I haven't been able to get to. It's just the time of year and how it works with my kids getting in and out of school. We're in school longer in the Northeast. It's, they don't start until September, but they don't end until the middle to the end of June. So it goes on when everybody's kind of getting out of school. So I'll get a reprieve in a couple of years and I'll be able to get there. So definitely look forward to getting to one of them.
Nice. Because he'll be in Indy next year, I believe.
That's even drivable for me.
Yeah, that's a whole lot better than Kansas. So
Mr. Zarnock says the drum brakes are the best.
and then he throws in, especially in a 4,000-pound car.
Yes, when you're doing 160 and you just smell asbestos, there's nothing better than that.
Hang on. You go to hit the brakes and start seeing sparks fly out. You're like,
and you have to saw the wheel back and forth to scrub some speed off.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I feel like that's like a 54 olds running around.
Fastest I had in my Malibu was 130, and that was sketchy because you shouldn't go that fast on a 1979 chassis with 0 upgrades. So
yeah. My 68 Oldsmobile, my 442 that I used to run, I had some chassis work done, but it was a bucket of bolts. I mean, it was running together, but it went fast. It went real fast, and standing on the brake for a couple of 100 feet is not really fun. Not knowing if you're gonna make it or not. So
add ice to it, and then let's see what happens then.
That's why I don't have it anymore. I hit a tree because of ice. Whoops.
Well, at least you're okay, right? That's the most important part.
I think so. The jury is still out sometimes.
Uh-oh. All right, moving on. What is your favorite variation, and what types of variations do you look for?
So variations is I look for any and all. My favorite variations are the ones that are what I like to call transition pieces. There's a running change where maybe the base is from this car and it changes onto this car, and it's 2 different pieces. and it kind of tells a story of where the car came from. So, hey, this is at the beginning of this run, the end of this run, and the stuff that's in between is kind of what's there. So, that's my favorite type of variation that I kind of go after. Um, it's tough picking favorite bears. I I do like the wheel variations probably the best. That's a simple one. And I'm not one of those guys that give me the mismatched or the all small or the all large. I know a lot of folks do that stuff. Um, I really like it when it's that car and it's got a different set of matching wheels all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't check them, but all those multi packs and 5 packs from 10, 20, 30 years, there is so much cool stuff in them that's really, really, really hard to find.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
especially multi pack stuff, and wheel variations. I love finding that stuff.
I've got a 5-pack Blackwall set that's got the maroon 959 Porsche in it. The standard is the Ultra Hots, but to get a Blackwall, you have to get it in the 5-pack only. So, yeah, I totally. And I have to give you big thanks because you actually got me a Skyline that I didn't have. So that was pretty cool too. All right, Brent, what were you got?
I was going to say wheel variations.
Yeah, I have them.
You.
I have them. Yeah.
I knew. I should have known.
Cop the packs.
Well,
I have them.
see, the funny thing is one of those I had found somewhere. I don't remember how I found one of them.
Yeah.
But the second one, Kent was a friend of ours had it listed for sale, and he had bid on it, and it was sent to us. But Ken already had that wheel variation, so he goes, well, I said, well, I don't have it. What do you want for it? He goes, well, it was a Christmas present, so I guess you get to have it. So I have both now.
That's awesome.
But I know where they come from. So they come from two really great friends. So, and then they'll hang out here for another good 15, 16 years before they find a new home. So
back to my house.
I mean, if you're collecting when I quit, then yes, I will gift it back to you.
See, and Brent, that's one of the
definitely.
And that's one of the things, especially with variations, is while the community is smaller, the variation community, I remember getting stuff from different people, and hey, so sometimes the cars, maybe it's not a hard variation, but hey, I got this from so and so, or I got this from so and so, or I gave this to so and so, or vice versa, and that community is kind of small, so. I look at that car and, some people might look at, at a picture on their phone as a memory. I look at the car and I remember who it came from, right? And I remember that memory of doing that trade or buying it or whatever that might be. And, those are the pieces that kind of drive you, right? So sometimes my favorite variations just like, oh, yeah, I got this from so-and-so. I wonder how he's doing, and
yeah,
those are the pieces that are always fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to I like the weird and obscure stuff, so I tend to go after the like the 8-car Mister or the 8-car packs that'll have one exclusive in it. What most people tend to not realize is that 5 or more are all exclusives to those packages, and it's only when it becomes a super hot car that anybody even notices that they're in there.
100%.
The last one that I can recall, the big to do over was the teal '62 Chevy. That was the last hot one. So,
yep.
Everybody's chasing it down, and there was times where you'd literally go to a store and you would look at a package and be like, "Well, that's been altered. The '62's gone. The exclusive's gone." It's you can kind of tell. When
100%.
something's missing.
Thanks, Greg.
I was going to say, Soul is here? What's up?
Yeah, he's over on our page. He's over on the club, on the Facebook page. Squirrel.
I like the squirrel. He's a good guy. I got
It's starting to pop up a little bit.
I need to message him.
The peanut gallery is starting to get in here.
Well,
Well, they normally do at some point in time. They'll just pop up and just start throwing lobs at us. Oh, this is
Supernova wants to know: did both variations of that R32 come in the 5-pack? And I can't seem to remember seeing. I think they did, but I'm not 100% sure. And I should know because I collect that car.
right. Say, I believe this was a 3-pack variation.
Yeah,
yes.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the yellow R32.
Yeah, which was weird because they were only done in freaking 3-packs. So it's like,
Yep.
yeah, they like their packages, and I know that there's a special Target 09 Silverado in red that I'm still eluding me at this point. Well, it's not eluding me. I just haven't bought it yet, but I know that there's a red variation of that, and everybody's like, "Oh, the white one's the hard one." No, it's the red one.
The red one. Yep. Yeah, and all of those different multi-packs. I mean, and you could say the same for set cars. You can say the same for 5-packs. You can say there's just so many different ones that are in there. It's kooky just trying to find some of the stuff and see what it is. So I enjoy doing that stuff. Most people are like, what are you buying that stuff for? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I like junk, right? So
and that's the thing is I get those same strange looks when I'm super excited about picking up a random car that's in some weird color. Sometimes people look at you like, why? I'm like, because it's an exclusive to this playset or this this 5-pack, and I mean like these two here, these are some of the two that got it started for me.
Yeah.
You know, these are playset only cars.
Yep, they
and
are.
Being a Chevy guy, having the Corvair and a 57 at the same time was a pretty good grab. You know, it's like, oh, I like both of those. You know, and then you can go into stuff like this, which was from the Pavement Pounders.
Yep.
And, you know, so I am also a fan of the obscure variation cars. So
I dig that stuff. I definitely dig that stuff. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. Yeah, and then listen, the good old fashioned, got 37 wheel variants and 16 tints of interior, and why do I have 37 Lexus, 430s?
yeah, the 380 SELs are pretty bad as well.
Yes.
Because there's not only the wheel variations, there's base variations between painted, unpainted, and then there's, like I said, I think there's 6 or 7 different wheels for the maroon one alone. But then I found out that there's an open steering wheel and a closed steering wheel, and you start getting to that, for the lack of a better term, you get that splitting hairs thing, and it's like that's where I kind of follow suit with you. I mainly like just the wheel variations. I want to be able to look at it static on a table and know there's a difference without touching it.
If I find it at retail or it comes in a collection and it's different, it goes in the box. I may or may not chase it.
Yeah.
If it's beyond that, right? Sometimes I do, but
yeah, it depends on the car.
right.
About the Mercedes is the only one that I will absolutely hunt down. So
yeah, some of the interior variations, and the one that comes to mind is the race team Nissan with the yellow interior. Ouch.
Which one?
Venezuela.
Yeah, that's Kent. Just ignore him. He's trying to cost me more money that I don't even. I mean, granted, there's a new Leo has surfaced on the 380 side. And I know who owns it. It's not for sale currently. So
not yet.
It's green, and it's an ugly green, but I gotta have who knows if it'll ever go for sale. So.
All right, what are you currently looking for that would just round it all out for you?
It's 2 Miatas that I'm looking for. One is a number 172 in yellow with 5 spokes. That is one that haven't been able to find. That is definitely one that's been on the list probably the longest. And then in the same realm, the same casting, there was a European G-Force set, and the Miata in it had screaming wheels, and it's yellow with black tankos.
Oh yeah.
Love to be able to find either that set or that car. Those are the two that elude me right now.
Well,
There's others.
I
Those
can't
are the,
help you.
those are the two biggies.
Yeah, I definitely, unfortunately, cannot help because those, I know for a fact that I don't have either one of those.
There
You
you go.
sure?
The yellow in the 5-spoke is the only one that I would possibly have.
Yeah, it's
But-
a blue card.
Yeah, but the yellow one, that was from the Big Air set, right?
Screaming wheels should be a international G-Force set. I think it's international only.
All right, South Texas has it listed as 2000 Big Air stunt set, international only.
Okay. Maybe it's that.
But yeah, no, that's one of them that I know I don't have because I know that when we were talking with Peter a couple weeks ago down there in Kansas, and we brought up the variations, and we happened to have a newsletter there, and the Miata was front,
Right.
was the centerfold, and I was looking at it and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that one before, and that was the yellow one. So the yellow and the black one from the set that I believe you're referring to. I was like, I've never seen that car. So
yeah, I did the article for Peter with that. So that was the. Now I did forget one in that article, which drove me absolutely crazy. In an Auto City 5-pack, the maroon one with the 7 spokes, 172 that everybody has was in the Auto. I have it with knife edge in that 5-pack. It's on Wiki, and I couldn't validate if it was real. And I was going through stuff in my collection, and I found it, and I didn't realize I had it. So there's another one that's not in there that you could add to the list.
And that's the thing, is one thing I've definitely noticed with any of the lists that are out there, they're never complete.
Nothing's complete.
Somebody's always got something squirreled away that
Right.
they know for a fact is legit, and they've seen others, and that they're just so hard to find.
Right.
And I have a couple of 380 SELs that I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that has a couple of them, but at the same time, does anybody actually look at them hard enough to notice the fact that the maroon one almost always has a Zamac base, but there's one of them so far that I've been able to find that has a painted base. So
Cool.
Brent, the only 3D collector in the universe. This is not true, Greg. This is not true. I have actually had to fight people for cars, and it got expensive fast. So.
Greg wants you to send him a couple pictures, and
I can do that. Absolutely.
awesome. And who bought the pizza? That's what Greg wants to know.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me. That's Shaggy's line. All right.
Yeah. Wow, we went there. Okay.
So I'll wait. But the last question, I don't know if you saw it on the sheet there. We asked this question every show. It's getting to be kind of ridiculous. I'm losing pretty bad here.
Pretty bad.
All right. I think I've only won like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
But here it is. Last question of the night. Which way do you face your loose cars? Driver's side showing, and yes, this is a bad example because I brought a JDM car, but it's the one you kind of helped me get. Driver's side showing or passenger side showing?
I have driver's side showing.
Oh.
Yes!
All right. So it's 4-65. All right.
I'm
Getting
backwards.
closer.
Well, and that's the thing, is if you look behind me, it's nothing but passenger sides all the way around. And
I'm
that's-
backwards.
Well, no, you're not.
You're not wrong. I kicked himself.
He's gone. He's gone.
Whoops.
And just like that.
Hit a button. I don't even know what I hit. I'm just glad it was easy to fix. 'Cause the last time I did that, it was complete blackout for the rest of the night. So
Yeah, it's
100% driver. What the Greg? What is wrong with
Oh.
you?
65-5.
All right. That's right. I'm
Uh,
still whooping your butt. So.
All right. It's not even. There's no sham wow action in this.
No, you're just losing. Oh
Uh,
man, there's so many. I'm just sitting here looking at there are all the cars that are on my wall, and I'm just like, that's variation. That's variation.
Yeah.
There's so many different ones that were done out. That there's just so many cool cars, and the playset cars alone.
Yes.
Between the playset cars, the mystery cars, and the exclusive cars, and the playsets, that's kind of where that's where a lot of my focus has been lately. For probably the last 2 or 3 years, has been mainly going after the pavement pounders, the playsets,
Right.
the 8-packs, the 5-packs, the 3-pack variations, and just the random cars that nobody's heard of. You know, some of the Cal Customs that have 5 and 6 different variations, just because I don't know if they couldn't get a paint sample to work or what, but
I still don't understand the black and the yellow Cal Custom tampos on the windshield. Like, why would they change the color? So there's
and it's just like the Mustang with the premium plastic wheels, then the Real Rider wheels, and then there's dark blue, light blue, black. It's like what was the deal? Like, you guys just printed things until the ink ran out and then you threw another color in, or?
I think that's what it was.
I think that's probably what it was too. So
I think it was all part of the grand plan back in the 80s to make sure that we would all drive us crazy and keep buying cars 40, 50 years down the road.
Could be.
Well,
anything is possible.
What are we, 56 years in, and I don't see us slowing down anytime soon. So
No.
That's the beauty of it.
Nitcher's on my side, at least. He's past your side.
Well,
so
yeah, he's from Kansas, so.
Hey, Kansas.
All right.
Ain't nothing wrong with Kansas.
I mean, we could keep going, but
well, I know we can, but yeah, we got to wrap it up.
we got to wrap it up. We got to do some carnage. So, are you participating tonight?
I didn't bring anything.
Well, we can open one in your honor, though. We can always do that.
Okay.
I'll go with
Brent,
an
you wanna go
American.
first?
All right, we'll start off with the 70 Chevelle fast wagons, the Yanko Deco with the slotted mags. I'm super happy to have this one in my private collection because big Chevelle guy, and they did this one right. So just very clean. Like, there's nothing that needs to be done with this car. It's perfect.
I have to say, I was kind of surprised to see that car just hang a little bit. It's pretty sweet. I mean, maybe the wheels, and that's maybe.
Nah, the wheels are perfect on it. The slotted mags are perfect on it. And metal body, metal base. She's got the weight to it. Rolls amazing. As I almost drop it on the floor. But yeah, big Yanko. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I don't have anything JDM left because I've been tearing all of my stuff up lately.
I got a Scooby.
Making sure it gets getting put away. So I'm going Euro tonight. I'm doing the 37th LA Convention BMW M5. This is, I love this car. This is number 1820 of 4000 for all you sticker
cardboard
collectors.
Keepers.
Yes.
That's the finale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I actually don't have that car yet. As he's ripping open his. And he has one carded still that I don't have either. So,
But that's okay. I have the carded Datsun dinner car with sticker and without. Yeah, we don't need this.
No, I don't have that one either. Yeah, he's got several dinner cars that I don't have.
And we don't need this anymore either.
And that. See, now you're just getting over dramatic.
Hey.
He does this a lot. We just roll with it.
There we go. What? All right. Hey, thanks everybody for coming on tonight. You all have been great. We appreciate the feedback and support. Carl, any last word for the night?
Now, listen, thanks for having me. It was a whole lot of fun. Hopefully, people got some insights as to some of the things that we do at the conventions and the chapter meetings and know a little bit more about me. And I just appreciate the time and the interest. So thanks, fellas. Much appreciated. Thanks, everybody.
Anytime. Glad to have you back anytime you want. So
Fantastic.
And again, as always, you can always catch the replay later on here in about an hour or so once it posts. And as always, give us a like, a subscribe, and a follow. Everything we do we do it for fun.
It helps
So
us,
we'll
but
see.
doesn't cost a dime. So
See you all next weekend with Mr. Paul, a.k.a. Black Walls Award, as our
that's
guest
gonna be
next week.
that'll be another good show. Can't wait for that one.
Awesome.
Happy Independence Day, everybody. Stay safe out there. Nothing but peace, love, and applesauce.
Keep all your
And,
fingers.
Yes, please. No emergency visits. Come hang out with us July 20th in Omaha. Carl, stay on with us here real quick once we end it, okay?
Will do.
Good night, everyone.